adopt their cultural practices just to satisfy them. They knew I was going to be who I was going to be, and I guess they had some respect for it, but that doesn't mean they were going to become my close friends. Only a few of them did that.
When did you start thinking about living life outside of Orthodox Judaism?
Oh, wow. That's like a crazy question to ask, because I don't know how many people who stop being frum actually have this kind of eureka moment or a light bulb appears over their head and they say, hey, I'm not going to be religious anymore. I think it's more of an evolution. And that's not to say that people who are religious are less evolved, but I think that people who become less religious are doing it because it's better for them. I mean, like I said, my upbringing was full of questioning. It wasn't like I suddenly woke up one morning and said, hi, I think this is nonsense. I'm going to start wearing blue jeans and go eat a cheeseburger. It really wasn't like that. I always had questions, and there were always doubts in my mind. And it got to the point where so many of my questions either had no answer, or the people who I asked them of refused to answer, or the answers that they gave me were clearly nonsense. So, I mean, by the time I hit high school, I realized, a lot of what I'd been told was not true. For example, they always told us, don't hang out with non-Jewish people. Non-Jewish people hate the Jews. They're evil. They're less than us. Well, my mother's a convert. Half of my family is Christian. Am I supposed to completely avoid them? I mean, they're wonderful people, and in many cases, they're nicer than the Frummies. So, I mean, I knew my teachers were wrong about that. What else were they wrong about? So, basically, it was kind of this evolving suspicion and this evolving distrust of what they were telling me, because so much of what they were telling me definitely was not true. And by the time I was, I'd say, a freshman or a sophomore, I was definitely very skeptical. And by the time I was a junior or a senior, I knew I wasn't going to live a religious life after I graduated high school. And as a matter of fact, the day after I graduated, I felt kind of like this need to make a statement, because I knew people were thinking about, is she or isn't she? Is she frum or not? And I basically walked down my street in a pair of blue jeans and this blood red shirt, which I still have, and everybody was staring at me, and I was just kind of looking back at them. How am I a different person than I was yesterday? I'm not. Just, you didn't know who I was. So now you know who I am, and it makes you uncomfortable, but, that's fine. And it's 4 years later now, and they all get along with me. So, like I said, it's not like I woke up one morning and said, I don't think this makes sense. But rather it was kind of this evolving thing, which eventually came to a head.
How did you relate to your non-Jewish relatives, and how were you told to relate to them?
Well, my mother is, I don't know, you're a convert. I don't know what the standard convert response is. I know that some people that convert to Judaism still are very attached to their, I shouldn't say former families, it's still their family. They're still attached to their original families, and some people completely cut them out of their lives. I don't know what the standard is, because I've seen so many of both. But a lot of people will say, you have to stay away from the goyim. My mother never did that. I mean, my mother loves her parents. She's the oldest of 5 girls in her family, so we have a big family. I have a lot of, cousins. I have aunts and uncles, and we always visited them. Maybe not very often, because everybody lived far away. If we lived closer, we'd see each other a lot more. But, there were always family get-togethers, They would get together on Christmas time, and sometimes we would go up and see them, and, if Hanukkah overlapped with that, that was kind of cool. And we would see them for Thanksgiving and during the summer and all types of things. So I never thought of them as less than me. In fact, actually, some of them I thought they were better than me because they got to live a normal life. But, I always got along with them, and I still get along with them. I mean, I'm hoping to see them this summer. I might not be able to, and when I can't see them, I get very upset because it's my family, and I don't get to see them very often. And I always had a good relationship with them. I mean, my grandmother she still has them. She has a set of kosher dishes and cutlery and, pots and pans that she keeps in her house. So that way when my mother comes up to see her, she has something to eat on. I mean, it completely skirts all of those prohibitions against eating with non-Jewish people. I mean, we're like, okay, is this why you can't do it? Well, we're going to do it anyway, and we'll have kosher dishes. So, I always got along with them. I never avoided them. And in many cases, they're nicer to me than a lot of Jewish people. So, I mean, what can I say? Blood is thicker than water.
Huh. How did you come up with the name of your blog, Righteous Rasha?
You know, it's really weird. I don't even know. I mean, I was thinking about the fact that I'm kind of, a rebel, and I don't follow the rules, but at the same time, emotionally, I'm so religious. I was talking about it with somebody last night. I don't believe in the rules. They don't make sense to me, yet I go to shul sometimes, and I love going. I love Jewish food. I love Jewish music. It's like there's like this pull on either side of me, like which road to go on. I'm obviously not going to lead an Orthodox life, but something about the religion, or probably I would say more the identity. I'm not religious, but, it's probably more of a Jewish identity that really draws me in. And people will come up to me and they'll say, you're a tzaddikas. I'm like, what are you talking about? I eat cheeseburgers. Like, are you out of your mind? I mean, but they look at me and they say, well, no, because, you're a good person and you're really following many of the rules by default, just being who you are. So I guess I try to be a rebel, but I'm really trying to be a good person as well. And I don't like the idea that, once you rebel, you're going to suddenly become, a drug user who smokes and drinks and becomes a prostitute. I mean, that's really what a lot of Haredi people think happens to you. I'm not going to do that with my life. So it's, like I said, I'm trying to live a good life while also being a rebel, because it's just a waste of your life to spend it on drugs and whatever else is going to destroy your body and your mind. So, be a good person, but so rebellious.
How do you determine what is right and wrong?
I don't have an answer for that question. I mean, the only answer I could say is, are you harming another person? Are you? I have to say, I mean, this is the best argument that religious people have. How do you have morality without God? It's a very good question, and sometimes there isn't an answer. How do I determine what's right and what's wrong? Well, I'm very libertarian. I'm very freedom-focused. If what you're doing is harming other people or taking away their rights, it's wrong. I mean, you want to take away somebody's right to defend themselves, their right to free speech, their right to live freely, that's wrong. You want to go murder somebody, rape them, steal from them, you're harming them. You're limiting their liberty. That's wrong. I don't really know if there's an answer completely to what you're asking me, but I definitely think that the effect that what you do has on humans, I definitely think that's a guiding force for me. I look to, it's kind of crazy sounding, I look to the Constitution, actually. I basically focus on liberty. What's the most important part? Liberty. So anything that limits that, I think, is immoral. Some people would disagree. But again, they have a very good argument. How do you have morality without God? But on the other hand, how do you have morality with God? I mean, look at all the things that happens in the Tanakh. Look at all the things that God says he does. To me, a lot of it's very immoral. But, so if you're going to ask me, how do you have morality without God, I will turn around and say, how do you have morality with God? So there's really no clear-cut answer, because both sides are thinking my way is the only right way. But I'm just trying to focus on being kind to other people and letting them live their lives, letting them be free and letting them choose their own destiny. That's what I think morality is, because controlling somebody else's life based on what you believe in and don't have proof for, it's not the way to go at all.
What are you majoring in at college?
I am majoring in economics, and I'm minoring in Hebrew. Actually, I just completed the minor program. There was an award ceremony this April. But I'm majoring in econ, and because I kept changing my mind with my major, I'm going to be graduating very late. I should have graduated this May, but that's not going to happen. So, it's a very good field.
Yeah, I majored in econ too, so
UCLA. Wonderful.
Which is kind of the University of Chicago, the West, in its orientation.
That's wonderful.
What do you plan to do after you graduate?
Well, I originally wanted to work in my field. I really wanted to teach economics. I mean, it's a subject that so many people are abysmally ignorant about. If you went to Chicago, that's the Chicago School of Economics right there. I mean, that's good stuff. And so many people, they have no idea about the economy. They have no idea about the way taxes work. They have no idea about, they just don't. They think